Okay, we are looking at, in the Maths Advanced course in Year 11, looking at solving linear equations and inequations today. So, just to explain that a little further, look at our Google site, my computer under here. So this is particularly for Friday. So I want you to watch the lesson about the syllabus first, so hopefully you did that. And then we're actually starting a new topic, even though it's part of the same topic, which is technically called functions. In the textbook, it's chapter 2. So chapter 1 and chapter 2 are together on Google Drive. So this is just at the end of chapter 1 if you're looking for the exercises. So write the heading for today, solving linear equations and inequations, which I'm sure you've already done, and now you're watching the video. So you can see what we're going to work on in the end. It's not exercise 2.10, it's 2.01, and exercise 2.02, first column only. So what really we want to do in this video is just do some examples. Now, because you're reasonably good at this already, I'm just going to jump into some with fractions to begin with, because I guess that's probably the hardest part that you'll come across in terms of linear equations. By the way, linear equations just mean that there's no power on the m or the x. They're all going to give us one answer because there's no powers anywhere, there's no root x. So that's all it means. It means that if you actually drew it as a y equals, they're all going to be straight lines. That's where the linear comes from, but we'll get onto that later. Now, if I was doing questions like this, where denominators, two different denominators, 3 and 2, and this one over here is a 3 and a 4, I strongly recommend that you multiply by a number that we'll get rid of, in this case, the 3 and the 2. In other words, like the lowest common multiple of 3 and 2, which is 6. And I think you're better off putting the 6 times in front of each of these things. Luckily, it's exactly what the textbook does, just in case you're trying to follow that as well. And then I go, okay, 3 cancels with 6, giving you 2. 6 times 4 is still going to be 24. 2 cancels with 6, giving you 3. And then you just write the simplest answer, 2 times m, so 2m minus 24 equals 3. So that's the nicest first step, just to multiply by a number that gets rid of the denominators. Now, I'll just move that over there. Now, I know you probably think, okay, I'm adding 24 to both sides. That's the same thing. So I move that over there. So 2m equals 27, and then divide by 2. So you can either have that, or of course you can have 13.5. So this whole idea of moving things from one side to the other just makes it quicker, rather than thinking, okay, I'm doing the opposite of minus 24. It's the same idea, of course. So this one, I'm going to multiply by 12 to get rid of the 3 and the 4. Don't forget to times everything by 12. That's the same as saying timesing both sides, keeping it balanced. The 3 and the 12 cancel, giving you 4 on the top, and the 12 and the 4 cancel, giving you 3 there, and that's just going to be 60. Okay, so here, expand it, 4x plus 4, and here it's going to be 3x. Now, add the like terms together, 7x. Now move that over there, so plus 4 on this side will be minus 4 on that side. And then divide by 7. 7 8's 56. What else can I say about this? It's the first time I've had equations this year, so hopefully you're doing this with the equals underneath each other when you're doing your working. Okay, so that's kind of nice. And a little bit of working like this are nice, but you notice I'm not overdoing the working. I'm not writing minus 4, minus 4. I'm not writing divide by 7. You're in year 11 now. You need to make that a bit quicker, as I've been saying about pretty well everything. Now this one's here because when you have just one equals and a fraction, you can take a shortcut, which is called cross multiply. So this is what I'm using here, cross multiply. And it only applies if there's a fraction and no number added to the end. So anyway, so that goes up there and you multiply them both by 2. 10 minus 2x equals, times both things here by 3, 6x minus 33. Now, this is a good example here as well, because you can do 2 steps at once. I'm not going to put the 6x over there, because that's going to be negative. I'm going to take that, which is minus 2x, put it over here, so that's plus 2x. So in other words, I'm just going to write 8x. And the same thing with this, I have to put that over that side, because I've got to put the numbers on the other side. Minus 33 on this side becomes plus, when you've added to 10, 43. and then just divide by 8, and that's the answer. Notice I didn't write them as mixed numerals because it's actually better to have them as an improper fraction nowadays. Now, you can probably stop now and do some of these, or you can keep watching the video and do the exercise for the inequalities as well, okay, which I'll go into now. So I want to do inequations at the same time, or inequalities, again, because it's reasonably simple. You have done it before. So you go with inequalities, which of course is when you have greater than or equal to, like this one, or less than or equal to. And the idea is you keep it exactly the same symbol, unless you multiply. This is when you turn the sign around, so turn sign around. If you multiply or divide by negative, or take the reciprocal, which means turn upside down. You know, if you turn something upside down, you actually turn the sign around as well. Sometimes you can avoid doing either of those things anyway. So here, there's greater than, leave it that way, get rid of the 7, put it over there, so you're going to get 10, 5x is greater than or equal to 10, then divide by 5, and you get 2. So the answer, the solution is x is greater than or equal to 2, and it does say show it on a number line, so that just means draw a number line. I'm going to put 0, 1, 2, 3. You don't need those numbers, you only really need 2. And then put a circle. Technically it's supposed to be right on the line, it doesn't really matter. Put a circle around the 2 and then an arrow going, in this case, upwards, because we're talking about all the numbers greater than 2. And I can imagine all of you saying, if I asked you, how do I indicate that it includes the 2? As you know, you colour it in. So that's pretty good. As I said, it's technically supposed to be right on the line, because if it's above the line, it just looks a bit funny, but I've got it right on the above edge. It doesn't matter. This one, you've got choices. You can either move the 3t over here or move the 5t over there. I will always move the smaller one. So I'm going to move the smaller one and move that over there, and that means you get 2t, because it's plus on this side, it's minus on this side. And that means I move the 4 over there. So if you take away 4 from minus 2, you get minus 6. Then divide by 2. And then you just got to make sure you're reading this right. So it's probably better to write it the other way. So if minus 3 is greater than or equal to t, reading it that way, you get t is less than or equal to minus 3. Minus 4, minus 3, minus 2. So there's minus 3. This one, oh, okay. I bet you all spotted that already. It doesn't include the actual answer, the solution to the equation. So this is an open circle, and it's less than. Do all the numbers less than minus 4 work? Oh yeah, the only other thing I suppose you could see and might not quite understand is solving an inequality where there's 3 sides. Of course, with inequalities you can have 3 sides, because this means that the values of z are actually between different values. It's not just one side or the other side. It's the same idea. You leave these where they are and just follow operations. So I'm going to take away 7 from both sides, from all 3 sides I should say. So you get minus 6 less than or equal to 2z less than or equal to 4 when I take away 7. And then I'm going to divide by 2 to get rid of the 2 in front of the z. So it's minus 3 less than or equal to z less than or equal to 2. Now what that is actually saying is z is the answer is all the answers bigger than minus 3, bigger than or equal to minus 3, but less than 2. In other words, if you've got minus 3 here and 2 here, which means 0 is of course somewhere about here, it means that it's all the numbers in between them, because it's greater than minus 3, this is greater than minus 3 this way, and less than 2, which is this way, so it's right in between them. And all that matters is that you make sure you include, oh, I've done it again, go at the top. You notice it doesn't include this one, so let's just get rid of that. So it doesn't include this one, but it does include this one. And that's what these equations, these exercises are on. So now's a good time to work on exercise 2.02, first column. But just before you go, I'll just take this off here and go over to the learning intentions and success criteria. Okay, so there's the learning intentions up there. And we are solving expressions, which is what we're doing now. It's actually not the right words. We're solving equations, but that's what they have in the syllabus. And we're up to this dot point here, which is what we can say something pretty simple, because all we are doing is I can, at the top it says I can solve linear equations and inequations based on those exercises. So good luck.